This is Jack Ellis here at Bar Mills again, and I've got Art has stepped in, and we're going to talk about some glues, the glues we use to build our models. We're going to start with a basic laser kit, and I think what we're going to use first, we're going to use a yellow glue. There's a bunch of yellow glues out on the market, Elmer's, Type On. I think it's a wise idea that you use yellow glues. Please don't use the white glues when you're putting the wood together. It has a tendency to dry out and get brittle, and in the long run your kits will fall apart. The next glue we use is ACC. I like to use Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue has a tendency not to dry out and get brittle. It has a rubber emulsion. When you use an ACC and you want to speed up the process of it drying even quicker, they make accelerants out there. You give it a spray after you put it on and she dries much quicker. You can buy it in the larger quantity. It's a lot cheaper than buying it in the small spray bottles. The next one we use is Walter's Glue. Walter's Glue is great. It's actually a contact cement. It works great for metal parts and putting on some papers. It's a little dab. Put it on, squish it together, and it works really good. The only thing you want to be careful is when you dab it on, it has a tendency to pull threads off it. Just be careful when you pull it off. The other glue that I like to use when I'm doing paper and things like that is a regular contact cement. This one happens to be a Weldwood. You can buy it at a hardware store. It's a couple bucks for a small container. It comes with a nice little brush in it. It's a two-part material. Actually, you paint it on one side and you paint it on the other and stick them together. It's one of those glues that once you put it together, it's stuck. When I'm doing some clear materials like acetates and things like that for windows, I'll use a Canopy Glue. One of the nice things about Canopy Glue is that it dries clear. So if you get a little bit on the front surface, you're not going to mess up the whole window. There's a whole line of tacky glues out there made by Eileen's. It's a great white glue. It works really well. They happen to have the basic gold one, which is a regular tacky glue. They have a quick dry and a fast grab. So these are three of the craft glues that are out there. Buy that at any craft store. White glue. White glue, it still has a good use. I like to use it as a diluted glue for putting down signs, scenery, and things like that. So white glue is still one part of my repertoire of glues. If we're doing some plastic work, I have two glues here. They're both liquid. Please don't use the glue in the tubes. It's much too thick. You can put this on with the brush that comes with it or a brush that you've bought. This one is Testors. It's not quite as aggressive. It doesn't melt the plastic as much as the 10X. 10X is very aggressive. It melts it very fast, but it has a very good bond. Both good bonds, a little slower, a little faster. And the other one I have here is a rubber cement. Again, much like contact cement, it works really well. It's for putting paper products down on paper to paper is great. Paper to wood is great. It has a brush in it. Brush it on two sides, let it dry, stick it together. My last one is a spray adhesive. Works great for putting paper onto your backdrops. Spray them on, stick them on. They work really well.
Well, you know, Jack, when it comes to the spray adhesives, I use Scotch 77. I've tried other ones, especially the Krylon, which you think would be a great product, and it just doesn't work as well. And there are certain things that you can use in combination with each other. I've done this before where I've taken some Walter's glue. Now, Walter's, by far, is one of my favorite glues to use. And if you're putting axles on vehicles, for instance, where you have very little surface contact, I found that by putting glue on the axle part and some ACC on the wheel part, and you press them together, the glue will work with ACC very rapidly, give you a very firm, quick bond. One other thing that we don't have here, we did not mention, is epoxy. 5-minute epoxy is very plentiful. Any hardware store has it. There are all kinds of configurations with this. They make it now for plastic. They make it in its typical formula as well. It can run as much as $7 if you go to a local hardware store. But in the case of something like this, which is a resin wall, what we did here on the original build, and these are the walls to Nemchicks, is we took some ACC and fastened the walls together in a more or less temporary fashion. And once we were sure they were square and fitted properly, we ran some epoxy along the insides of the walls to give them a more permanent adhesion for a longer life.
It gives you more surface on the glue.
Well, that's it for us this time around. Until the next clinic, this is Artie Fahey
and Jack Ellis.
and we'll see you at the next clinic.